Made it back to Club Mango. Baby, 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 we are happy and excited to be back. Now, that last discussion, amazing. Great. I hope now you guys will rep your clan. Hopefully, the right one, which is Kagero. We all know. Sorry, Cardfight King. No, it's not Aquaforce. All right, get out of here. Now we're moving on to Vanguard of Influence, Day 1. A very important topic that we're going to move into right now.
What's up, guys? My name is Naruto Samurai here of Vanguards of Influence. This is where we're going to be our panel talking to YouTubers that we all know and love. Today we have a group of 5 YouTubers for you all, and have we go off and introduce them. So right now we got Winning Image.
Hi, I'm Winning Image. You might know me as Sean. I love Vanguard, been Vanguard tubing since I was 12 now, for 6 years.
Wow.
Super excited to be here at Cardfight Con, or you guys know. And looking forward to a great panel with these other creators.
We also have Commander Jaimes.
What's up, amigo? Oh, wow. I messed it up. What's up, amigos? Commander Jaime here today, and I'm just a main for Aquaforce and Grand Blue, and I do play other clans. I'm also famous for the Grand Blue blog and for the Aquaforce blog as well, and I also do participation in Axis Vanguard on their articles as well. Thanks for the invite, amigos.
No problem, no problem. Now we also have Domino Paris here.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Domino21 here, and definitely big special shout out to Winning Image Sean. Back when he was Honey Badger, when he was 12 years old. I remember when he first appeared on my channel, like years ago. But I guess you could say I'm one of the long-time YouTubers. I started off right when I started with the game in 2012. And I definitely hit my peak around Break Ride era. That's where I had a lot of views, a lot of content. And I've been on a little bit of hiatus with content creating and everything, but I was invited to come and show up, and I think this is a big event for Cardfight Con and just bring back the old school, new school, and everything. So I think this is a big thing, so thanks for having me.
No problem, man, no problem. Next we have Team Greylock's Alphonse Zeus.
Hey guys, what's going on? I am the Alphonse Zeus of Team Greylock. I've been doing content creating on Vanguard since, I think, spring of 2012. I think it was July 2012 when I first started. And I think one of our biggest periods was during the Legion and the G era. So I've played decks main from Oracle Think Tank, Dimension Police, Dark Irregulars, Nova Grapplers, and Bermuda Triangle.
Oh man, that's awesome. And last, but certainly not least, we got Team Greylock John right over here.
What's going on, guys? The Mama John of Team Greylock. Been doing YouTube for about right around the I'd say around the start of G era. I was helping out Alphonsus and Henry with the channel, but I've been playing Vanguard basically since the beginning. Trial deck Kagero all the way. So
yeah. Now coming into everyone all together, how you guys all doing? Welcome to Vanguards of Influence.
Let's get it.
So today we're going to be asking a few panels overall Vanguard tubing questions that relate to what everyone in the audience is hoping to hear and understand from Vanguard tubers. You know, we're a very niche community, so we want to be able to have an understanding like how we do uploads and all that. So I'm so glad that you guys are all able to join with us today. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So for today, we drew our introductions. We knew you guys have come together. We wouldn't have found you because of YouTube, so that's why we're all here. I guess my first question to y'all is, like I was saying, Vanguard is a very niche community versus other card games like Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh! How would you say is the best way to gauge interest in your content? So, whoever wants to start off, you guys can go ahead.
Sure, I can start off. I think really, so something I always talked about with Vanguard as a major difference between other card games is Vanguard allows a player to kind of have an identity for themselves. It's like some of us introduce ourselves, you say, like, Commander Jaime right there, it's pretty obvious what he plays. Bermuda Triangle. No, I'm kidding. Because Aquaforce, right? So we all have our clan that we can kind of associate ourselves with and identify as. So I know in my experience with Vanguard tubers, when people refer to other Vanguard tubers, the first thing they say is like, yeah, this guy's a dedicated Aquaforce player. Check out his channel if you want to learn Aquaforce. This guy plays DIs. This guy likes to play this. So you could take advantage of that niche. Vanguard, the fact is that you have like deck identity, clan identity, and you can really personify that in your channel for yourself and just kind of focus on that, and you can kind of have that expertise on it, and you have consistency with it versus like with Yu-Gi-Oh, you kind of have to just shift to whatever the meta is. Like this is the new staple cards, and then these 4 cards splashed in. So that's why I like with Vanguard, you can really take advantage of that identity for yourself, because I think that's what really makes you, that's kind of what distincts you from other YouTubers, Vanguard tubers, for yourself, to make yourself unique.
Yeah,
I definitely agree with that. Go ahead, Alphonsus.
Yeah, sorry. So I know that interesting, before Team Gradelock, we were known as Team Iron Man, mostly for the challenges that we would do. We would have kind of like 3v3 just in animating the show. So I think we found that niche in terms of how we challenge ourselves, to be better. And then how we got renamed to Team Gradelock was that we got Gradelock quite a number of times. And before, when there was a circuit in stores and then you go to a regional store for the next qualifications, everyone that was there got Gradelocked or they faced against each other. And that's how we rebranded ourselves as Team Gradelock from Team Iron Man. So when we take on that kind of niche thing, especially when it's like, yeah, everybody gets Gradelock, but what if we have a whole team centered around that? Because that was our experience up till then. So once you find that niche, and especially when you say something like Gradelock, something that's generally known within the community, that also helps to kind of establish yourselves as that type of thing, even if it's kind of like a curse for some of us.
Yeah, I kind of like it. I like it. Like before, when I was in teams before, my first team was Team Forerunner, because the majority of the time, like, we never strayed away. Some of us were like stuck always at 1, and like we'll be on our Forerunner. I was like, Team Forerunner here, and it was like the funniest joke ever at the time. But then, like, things happen. We go for other teams. But overall, I get the overall concept. Do any of you guys else have anything you want to share with the first question?
I do. I wanted to add on to what Domino has mentioned too, is that with the clan identity as well, there's actually a level of deafness in certain clans too. So one of the things that players, if they want to try a new clan, sometimes it can be a little bit daunting. And so what I do, at least with Aquaforce and Grand Blue for the most part, I go into an extra layer of concise detail with deck profiles, with mindset, resources, because sometimes you can play a certain deck, but it takes a level of time and effort and skill to learn how to play a deck well at that point. And so that way people want to take it to the competitive scene, they can actually do really well and understand the game plan in order to achieve maybe a top 8 or winning first place overall in that sense too. So I like that level of deafness that sometimes Yu-Gi-Oh, for example, that I came from, doesn't have that until like the meta game changes. And just like Domino said, it's like it completely changes the format, and there's no almost unique identity to those decks. It's almost the same type of deck that does a certain thing on first turn or second turn. But with Vanguard, right, exactly. And Vanguard doesn't really have that word. Well, with the exception of Suzanne, but that got fixed a little bit. But outside of that, it's the typical writing up progression. And then, of course, if in Premium, you Stride and G-Guards, and it just really has that identity still with each clan.
Yeah. And anything, like, your identity does define your content. Like, not gonna lie. Like, for me, I'm actually taking in from what you guys are saying, because I've done Vanguard tubing for other teams, but I've never done it for myself. So me finally trying to get into that, I am listening here. Like, I do have a lot of clan dedication, because like currently I do Twitch streaming, and for that, like, I'm mostly the Narukami player, like 100%. Like, you can see in my name, Naru Samurai, all the time. But yeah, like, showing your clan that your clan dedication is a big part about it, and I think that's something that most people need to like fully understand. Like, we look at Solomon, we know that he loves Grand Blue. We see other YouTubers in general, you see what clan they like the most, and you just can't wait for them to talk about that clan when they get support.
Exactly.
And to kind of add to the...
You have that expectation.
What's up, Ryan?
I was just saying you have that expectation.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
To kind of add to the identity thing, something that I've noticed watching Vanguard for as long as I've played the game on YouTube is that 70% of Vanguard content is all copycat. Like everybody has a deck profile, everybody's done matches, everybody's done discussions, everybody's done this, that, and the other. But I find what makes Vanguard tubing so much more different is the identity thing that y'all brought up. Is that 30% of that make up the 100 that really let their personality, their deck, their knowledge of the game really show and allow them to create a really fun and entertaining Vanguard channel.
I agree. There's that authenticity and relatability that people can attach to at that point too.
Exactly, because we're all people.
Mhm.
So I want to add something?
And like if I could just add, it's just when it comes to Vanguard tubing, right? There's so much more than just deck profiles and top 8 discussions and things like that. There are various things. Like take for instance our channel, right, with Henry. Henry does a market watch almost every week, if more so like 2 times a week, because we have standard, you have premium, you have various different types of aspects that you can look into when it comes to this game, and overall I just find it widely more fascinating.
Yeah, like the different markets you can go to is actually going to lead into our next question, not gonna lie. So when we go into our next question, it's when creating content, how do you track your overall performance and manage your progress? So here I'm kind of like looking for, like, you guys put up different contexts from like deck profiles to market watch to like certain different topics like that, and you guys are able to see where your view count is and your subscription count is. How do you know what's working the best?
I could start first.
Oh no, yeah, you go ahead.
Okay. Well,
I was just gonna say, normally for me, when it comes to looking at the videos, a lot of videos tend to be very stagnant when it comes in terms of views. You'll get an average of so and so views, but it's more so in the engagement of the video itself. If people are commenting on your video, if you're liking certain parts of your video. It's more so a matter of, okay, are people engaging with this form of content? And if so, why are they engaging with that form of content? And then you try to understand, okay, well, maybe this is something that I can maybe replicate to a better extent.
Yeah. So, try and put this in like words. So you're talking about like how you can replicate this content, right? But like if you notice, you get some contents where you get a lot more views, right, from your returning followers, right? But then you get some from like those subscribers. You could start getting new subscribers because of these types of profiles. So I was actually looking at some statistics here, right? I was using in terms of like Yu-Gi-Oh, right? More people got more subscribers coming and putting a deck profile, even though they become very unreliant because they're mostly almost all the same thing, right? But they they get more subscribers putting out a deck profile than they do doing like games or showcase or overall meta projections, right? But their viewer count is much higher on those other videos than the deck profile. So like that was kind of like
I see
what like we started to see here, and that's why I wanted to bring it up to you guys. You feel like
so
that's the case?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, it's like I know, like for me when I started off, it was just more of kind of like knowing your audience and kind of figuring out what you want representing yourself in the channel. So I always looked in the viewpoint of myself. Like if I'm a new Vanguard player, right? Because at the time Vanguard was like a fresh game. If I'm a new Vanguard player, what is like the first thing that people normally like to do? Like think of it like when you get into any new game. Okay, I just want to learn. Okay, I want to learn builds. I want to learn builds, what's out there, and then I want to see these. I want to see these decks in action. That's always what I've stuck to. And I know the common complaint, at least back then, not really as much now, was there wasn't really a lot of good quality deck profiles. It was kind of like people just talking, just laying stuff out on paper and just listing things, and then matches were very bad. So I at least wanted to give something to where people can come to my deck profiles, they can get something in depth, and matches. And just as John mentioned, like something I've always looked forward to whenever I uploaded something is I like reading comments. Like I like reading comments. I like seeing what people have to say. If people see something bad, that's fine. If it's good, it's great. And as people tell me things like, hey, I know with deck profiles, for instance, like I kind of learned how to speak better in depth because I always constantly get the questions, and my goal was like I want to minimize the amount of like obvious questions that I keep getting on it, and it's like every deck profile, I keep getting all these questions, and I'm like, okay, am I covering enough? And I go back and look at the video, and then I try to figure out a consistent like outline of how I explain everything, and then it's really because like I think what you're mentioning, Naru, is like quantitative data, like putting a numerical value. You know, your view will naturally go up, but I think for Vanguard especially, because there's not as much viewership compared to other card games, qualitative data is very important. You know, what kind of engagements are you getting? What kind of feedback are you getting? And what kind of responses you get maybe when you change something? So, because like for instance, for me, when I did matches, I used to do like one game. That's what everyone did. But then everyone's like, hey, I want more. I want more games. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to sit down with my friends. We're going to play literally 10 matches. I'll pick like 5 or 6 of them, and I'll upload it all at once. And I did like 45-minute to 1-hour videos. And surprisingly enough, it worked. People liked it. People watched it because because one game is not enough in Vanguard. So that was kind of like one example of how I kind of changed. If you look at my videos like towards my later years, I started just combining all my matches into one video to like 45-minute videos, and that's the one example of how I got feedback.
Yes. All right. But yeah, you're right. I was doing quantitative data, and you're right. It does go hand in hand with quality, quantity, and like both on hand. So I actually have a question back to you though. You said you put all your matches into a 45-minute video. But from some people that we know, they like to make smaller videos so that sorry about that.
Videos.
Videos.
You're good.
All right, so wow, we're all children.
All right, you're good.
So some like to put into like smaller videos, so that people that come in for the first time watching it, they don't feel like they're overwhelmed with like a 45-minute video. Do you feel like these 45-minute videos help at all, or do you think it's only good for like the hardcore followers of your channel to watch than like newer people coming in?
Well, I think it depends on how you want to do things, because I know for me, the order I always uploaded was deck profile first, let that sits in, and in my viewpoint, like again, if someone really wants to get into a clan and a deck, they see the deck profile, they get excited, they want to see it in action, they want to see it in action as much as possible, and then you put the matches up. So I think it's just depending on how you want to grab your audience, and again, how you it really comes down to how you personally want to present it. Because I think a mistake that some content creators, in my opinion, at least for VTubing, because I had some people who came to me and asked me, and I just said, just do things how you want to present it. You know, because I always view VTubing, Vanguard tubing as your way. You're sharing your experience, right? And you want to share it the way you want to present it, and how you experienced it. So I think that I've always done deck profile first. People get excited and then people want to see the matches. And again, it came from everyone just always wanting more matches. And I was like, okay, I can't like film these like every week. I'll just do it all at once. I'll put it all in 45 minutes because because I didn't want to like spread it out. Because also I felt like if you separate the matches, people won't see it all. So that's just how I kind of it.
All right.
I'd like to add on to it. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Go right ahead.
Awesome. What the one thing you say, Naru Samura, was that you said there's the deck profiles and there's the other type of content, and usually the deck profiles pick people up to your channel. And till this day, I made a deck profile like a year ago or almost a year ago, and when that clan gets support again, people go to YouTube to look up those builds as well still. And so I actually got a comment today about Genesis for the new Regalia stuff, and it's just like it helps you hook more subscribers that way. So if you're trying to build a following at that point, deck profiles are still good even in the long term as well. So you may do a deck profile and you get like a certain amount of subscribers, but then still in the future you can get some as well at that point. And one of the things that Domino touched upon about like the matches, the games, like a 45-minute video, I had the same thing where I spread it out first. That didn't really got views for the second or the third game. Only the first one would get the most views. And so I put everything together as well. And then I learned that if I do that first, then the deck profile, it doesn't go as well. So I flip-flop them, just the way he did it, where you have the deck profile so people get excited about it. They actually know how the inner workings of that deck build being played works like that too. And now they get to see the deck in action as well, especially if you mention some things in the deck profile as well that actually are, you know, kind of prevalent and shown in demonstration at that point too. And then for the people that honestly, I wouldn't say they have an attention time span, or maybe they just want to see the list quickly and then go on about their day. One of the things that YouTube has done is the timestamps have gotten way better. So you can timestamp your video and actually put like a little title, and they can see the segments now on their phones or even on computer as well. So it makes it easier for those people to kind of go through your video as quickly, still get your content. And then even some people, they can go back and refer to and look at a certain part of your video that was important to them. It's like, oh, he said that in this grade 1 lineup. Why did he say that? And so they can easily go back to that. So that's something that I've been implementing, and it's been really smooth for all types of audience, even for the new people, the veterans, and then of course the different personalities of people. Some people like that detail, and some people just, you know, give it to me fast, you know. Just show me the list. You know?
Yeah, that's a good idea with the timestamp. That wasn't even available when I was uploading.
So that actually makes me ask another question. So you're talking about how you layer your videos. You know, you just had to upload a video of your deck profiles beforehand, before doing a battle, so that they have an idea before. So that actually kind of, it's not the same nature, but looking into it, I want to talk about like the idea of overlays and how you present your videos. Do you believe that also has an effect on your overall performance?
Yeah, it does. Because Naruto quickly jabbed at my 2-minute style of making content. I think that overlaying your content in a way which is presentable as well as understandable helps you build that connection and community. Because we talk about engagement and so much. What I find is when I play Vanguard decks, I can group certain cards together because they do the same thing. So when instead of presenting by grade, I present my cards and how they interact with each other. Because if you say one card and people are just skimming over the deck profile, and you mention like, hey, this card works with this, they're not going to see it unless you show it to them. So what I kind of enjoy is grouping, like, say, Nova Grappler. I put all the restanders together, and here are all the cards that benefit off restands. And here are all the cards that power up your other cards to make sure that all these other decks and all your other bosses have good matchups. And when I overlay like that, when they all come together, you've already covered every card. So that's how it all works. And if people just sit there, watch 2 minutes, they could just move on.
That's true.
So yeah. So you're talking about in terms of like meta projections, meta analysis, right? Or like clan analysis, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But like another one is some people overlay their deck profiles. Like I'll bring up some examples. So like I know Different Fight, the way he does some deck profiles beforehand was he used to open up on Tabletop Simulator and then make the thing flash on the corner while showing off the card on Tabletop Simulator. I don't know if you guys remember that.
No, I've seen it before.
Yeah. And then we got some other YouTubers. They go and they lay out all the deck in front on like a new system, right? So like a database, and then they talk about the card one by one. And then there's the ones that decide to do it physically on their play mat, just have it there, and then like go one by one from each card. Do you guys feel like there's a certain like superior way of doing it, or it's all over by how you present yourself?
I mean, this is almost irrelevant to me because I never edit my stuff. I just do everything candid and just look like the way it shows up. Nice raw amateur footage. Like,
I mean, for the longest time, at least when I started editing videos for the channel, I would always put, you know, it would be just the raw deck profile itself, but I would always put like an image of the card on like the left-hand side of the screen or the right-hand side of the screen, just because in certain like places where you're recording, you know, you can't actually read the card. It might be from a distance, it might be because of a glare, so you want to know, you know, inform the viewer what the card is and what the effect is. But to that extent, right, I mean, as long as you are knowledgeable about the card and are presenting the card in a way that people can understand you, then it really doesn't matter in terms of how you're presenting it, as long as you're presenting it well and explaining yourself.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what's most important personally. That's what like when it comes to matches, I've seen like I don't know if you guys seen these Japanese YouTubers, like they like to do a little bit of what's it, role play and everything. They have like the greatest representation. They have the greatest presentation. I can't
There's
recount
that
it,
one
but
channel. There's that one channel that has like all those special effects.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
God.
love that
Yeah.
channel. I've seen it
Yeah.
all the time. They go in, they like even do like the generation zone sounds and things like that.
Yeah.
They do the whole Legion animation.
And I'm just thinking to myself, man, the amount of editing these guys are doing is crazy.
But
Like-
at the end of the day, it's not, even if you did put in that editing, it would not have the same effect as how they just like put in and they go into character, like joking around, like writing cards, being like loco, geto, greto kotrega. Nani? Like things like that.
like like matches. I don't know. Like I guess you could say it's almost laziness too, and also I'm not as skilled as editing. But when I do matches, I always like to think of it. I don't know. I like to be very atmospheric of like if you're standing at the local shop and just watching me play, right? Because I usually have anime music blaring in the background because that's how I play too. I just play it on my phone. And that's when I started doing that. People started like actually watching more of my matches, which is funny. But then the damn YouTube copyright kept killing me. But yeah, but you know, I guess it felt like you're in a card shop. You're just because I always filmed in a card shop usually. Some people like it feels like you're in a card shop. You're just watching two guys play, and I don't know. I feel like that's like the raw footage of this matches. As long as you could see the cards, you know, and good enough, people will know what you're doing. And I always assume people know what the cards do anyway, as long as you're playing at a decent pace. So that's all. To me, that's just how I've always filmed matches. But I think the criteria has changed a lot now, and I find that guys who really present their matches very well, very consistently, they tend to bring a lot of draw and viewership, in my opinion.
Okay, all right, yeah, I agree with that. So I'm actually going to go into the next question now. So when did you decide to create content? This is more like a fun question, not going to lie. When did you decide to create content for Vanguard, and when did it become a part of your everyday routine? So you always put time throughout your day to be like, okay, I want to get some Vanguard content out. But when did you start? Are you enjoying doing it as your everyday routine? Like, just give me like an insight of like how you feel right now doing it.
Ooh, all right, I can start this off. Back in 2012, when I realized there wasn't much Vanguard content on YouTube, because I, of course, was a Yu-Gi-Oh refugee that transferred over to Cardfight Vanguard in spring 2012, and
How was the battle?
yeah, right. it was a lot of things that I can't just say in one take, but at least when I saw that there was some videos like up on Vanguard, especially some videos that are promoted on in Japanese, I was thinking, wait, we can try and make this a thing, because when you have like a team and people all have different favorite clans, or they have different ways of presenting how they play and how they would do well at locals, or how like maybe this week at locals was a complete wash, and from there I was thinking like, okay, we have a group and we have people like diverse enough that we can bounce ideas off each other, and then we can put videos together. And over the past, I guess, 8 years since Team Iron Man and Team Gradelock did Vanguard tubing, it was a lot of life events, because after bringing on players and then players kind of slowly detaching because they wanted to move on with a different chapter of their lives, and seeing how it's incorporated, I always thought in my mind every day, like, okay, it's always week by week. Sometimes it would just be like the month by month if we would go travel. So I guess some of the biggest hurdles in our content were just during the era where we did road trips. And I love doing vlogs for it. And it kind of helps inspire me to keep it in mind. Yeah. It's just so nice to kind of get to know the community outside of just, the team, and how the team interacts with the community. And how we kind of go about it with the everyday routine. We always have like different eras, not eras, but different areas of the channel that we want to do. So like John's big on editing, putting together like these awesome like thumbnails and editing process. Like I am more of like the social guy, so I like the vlogging and kind of networking aspect, and Henry's more of the vendor and competitive aspect of it. So that's how we found each of our niches to kind of help out the channel in a way. So with that everyday routine, we all cover a certain base, and then we have, of course, group chats to kind of keep each other in touch as to like, okay, what's up for this week or next week or so.
Okay, all right, that's kind of cool. So you guys run like a little like shop with your team at all, or is that what I'm understanding? Or
we have kind of like a home shop in a way. It was Game On Now Final Turn gaming in Clifton, New Jersey. Sometimes we just record videos back at one of our friends Alex's Axel's place. That was usually the go-to place we would go to after our weekly tournaments. And I think once we established our home base and we started traveling more, and our store gave us like, you know, shirts or just stuff to help out with just our competitive drive during that whole era of card fighting. And I guess it was good because we were a good part of that community, and we were drawing people in from like South Jersey, Central Jersey, even a few people from PA and New York would stop by the shop too, which is very surprising. It's rare, but it's always like, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. You get like a little bit more of a community coming in and like checking you guys out. So for anyone else, like, how's your everyday routine work for Vanguard and for tubing?
I can take it. Oh, go ahead, Sean.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. I guess I'll go. For me, how I got into creating content first and then going into the routine. I came from Yu-Gi-Oh! Just as well, and one of the things that I started doing was becoming competitive in Vanguard. And so around early 2015, that's when like G-Era kind of started, especially with GBT02, with Aquaforce, Lambros, Stavas. For me, as a Yu-Gi-Oh! Player, I was playing Shaddolls and Necros competitively. And so if I wanted to have that same mindset going into another game like Vanguard, then I just like looked up videos, you know, trying to see what are some key plays or some tips that I can use to help me as a player. And at least for Aquaforce, there was a lack of it. And in fact, some deck profiles kind of referred other deck profiles where they're like, I played 4 copies of this card because the other guy did it in the other video. And that's not really what you're looking for. It's almost kind of like laziness. So I wanted to provide some value at that point. And so really, I started doing deck profiles for Aquaforce at first, giving that content. So if anybody wanted to use it to improve on, or even as a competitive reason, then it's there for them as well. And so what's really cool, when people reach out to you and let you know that your deck profile actually helped them top an event or even improve their whole mindset of a clan, it's really fulfilling, honestly. And so it gives you that motivation, that drive to upload on somewhat of a consistent basis. For me, I was not consistent at first. It was every couple of months, to be honest. And when it got to the point once, like especially with COVID, with this whole year being kind of crazy, it really gave me the opportunity to be more consistent. And it was maybe like 3 or 4 times on a monthly basis. But I never wanted to be so rigid that it just kind of felt tedious. It started feeling burning out. Different Fight did a video about burnout too, so that's a very good example. And I didn't want to do videos, and my quality started suffering at that point. And so I always wanted to make sure that the quality was there, the enthusiasm as well. So if there was something that I could stick to, like maybe 3 to 4 times a month, it's almost weekly at that point, but it's not always weekly, but something to stick with it. And it's just having that mindset and just be excited to share your content.
Yes. So you actually bring up like a very interesting point, because like burnout is a thing that happens to like most Vanguard YouTubers. So we've seen YouTubers before burnout entirely. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if I should mention their names. I think it's like the right call half the time. But like,
go ahead, do it.
So yeah, like let's think of like some Vanguard YouTubers that have gone because like being burnt out, switching to other games. We got like Science of Vanguard. We got people that like were working in teams that got distanced. So like because the team wasn't there, the YouTubing wasn't there, like Vanguard Central. But like overall, like I know people like that still want to get back in and do content. And one thing that does hurt is burnout, not gonna lie. So is there anything that any of you guys do intrinsically to be a little bit more exciting for your content or make people not want to burn out as quickly from playing Vanguard?
So I actually went through a big phase of Vanguard burnout in my life that I consider dropping the game completely. When I did Team Honey Badger for 5 years, because Domino here got me into Vanguard tubing. By the 3rd year, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. You know, I was really just playing Card Fight Vanguard for the views. And that's me being completely honest with y'all. Like, Blouse wasn't doing anything. Everybody knows I love that deck. Narukami was kind of after Eradicators, and all the decks that I played weren't fun. So by that 5th year, I was just like, you know what? I'm done. I hit 500 subs. I'm out. I took a year. I took a year off. Wanted to try some other things. I focused on lacrosse for once in my life. Saw where that could take me. I tried vlogging, but it turns out when I still played Vanguard like on and off. Turns out when I tried vlogging, the most #1 viewed video on that channel was my Vanguard video, and how I talk about my involvement in Cardfight Vanguard, and like kind of the history of why I still play it, and how fun it is. And then when I realized that, you know, burnout is a real thing, everybody goes through it, I was like, I had my phase, I know how to handle it, I've done it before, let me just try it again. And that's why Winning Image came about, because I lost the password too.
Yeah, technical.
But yeah, just know that it's always going to be a part of you, and just enjoy it while you can. You know, everybody loves this game. Everybody in Cardfight Con is here because they love Vanguard, and we hope that everybody watching loves the game as much as
Yeah.
And just taking breaks, all that keeps it fresh.
Ah, okay. All right. So Winning Image, that's you took that from Vanguard, like, you know, in the beginning of season 1, with Caesar's team talking about what's your winning image and all that.
Oh no. So everybody knows Vanguard. The whole thing is like you build to your winning image. And
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just showing people,
Image
hey,
it.
this deck's main winning image. I was just like, I'm gonna brand this shit. I mean, sorry.
No worries. All right. Yeah. I actually think it's kind of clever. Like, you know, even being like a tiny bit cheesy and like your name is overall kind of more appealing to most people, because they'd be like, yeah, we're gonna watch some Winning Image today. I think that's gonna be the play.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. I mean, I watched Domino for a long part of my life. I watched both of the Greylock people for a long time, super long time. I watched Jaime as well. And now I'm looking forward to all the connections that this game gave me, and really thankful.
Yeah, and like I think that's what makes this like panel very like interesting, and actually more like the whole Cardfight Con, because we're able to converse with people in the community that like no one probably thought that they'll ever converse with, and like it's kind of like a fun experience at the end of the day. Like, even if like you guys couldn't like talk face to face, you got a chance to even like message them and like be like in like a group conference with people like that. So overall, that's very fun. I'm going a little bit off topic here, but like, are you guys in your content, do you focus now only on standard, or do you still feel like premium is an aspect for you? So for me, like, I love
that's a good question. Yeah.
Because for me, like,
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no worries. For me, like, I still like premium. Premium has to be like my favorite format because like it includes everything that I used to play, and it has things that like you normally couldn't do with standard. There's still limitations in both. Like, problem like premium is like some decks are pretty glass cannon. Like, they go to do that one thing, or they build up to that one thing, and if that one thing doesn't work, literally like they're left with nothing left. While others could be the biggest fortress that you can possibly ever see in Vanguard, where they can just nibble at you each turn until like it's game over with their like 20 card hand, and somehow that deck still looks like 40. But you know, overall, like, what do you feel is like your opinion between the premium standard aspect of the game? Do you feel like standard's the way to go? Do you think premium is dying out? Do you believe premium is still a very favorable format?
Well, I say look at Magic the Gathering as reference. Look at Magic the Gathering as a reference. I mean, you have was it Modern, Standard, but then you have the very elite group of people that play. Well, the long-time whales, play Legacy and stuff. If you guys know that. But there's different formats. Premium, I'd say, is definitely there for the veterans, the long-time players, the very competitive players. because premium, I say, is definitely much more competitive than standard, just because of the amount of power creep it has, and it's very clear that there's really not much monitoring as far as balance is concerned in premium. It's kind of like take everything that we've made known to man and just go crazy, right? That's where you see the craziest power plays going on. Standard is a much better entry level for most players. It's cheaper, it's much more easily accessible, cheaper, and it's a lot more straightforward as far as building, because obviously adding the stride deck and then adding like cards from like first, second era and everything, it could be a little bit overwhelming if someone's brand new. But I say standard is a good gateway to Vanguard, and then once you kind of plateau with your deck, like you build it perfectly, you're just playing it with the same deck, premium gives you another way to play the game that you may be looking for. But I think standard, I think for the most part, people, like the general audience, is more for standard, but there are going to be the elite group of people that do like premium. So it's two different types of mindsets for the game, but I think standard is going to be more for the general audience.
Okay.
I think John wanted to say something too.
Yeah, no, actually, no. Domino actually put up a super good point. I was going to say, like, Magic the Gathering having separate formats and whatnot. But what I was just going to add was, when it comes to us, just in particular, we just go by whatever we're enjoying at that time. So for us, a majority of our team, we like standard. We play standard because we think standard is fun. And, because we think that, we're going to put out content for that. It's as simple as that. But don't get me wrong, like, I love premium, because I still love all of the wacky and crazy shenanigans that you can do. Like, just this week, right, I found out that, you can do Denial Griffin combos for both Pale Moon and for Genesis. You're constantly learning new things and new aspects in every part of the game. And that's what I love about premium. But is it fun for the rest of my group? It's cool that I can enjoy that, but are my friends going to enjoy that? And if they're not, then that's okay. I'll just play something that we all enjoy, and that's going to be standard.
That's a big thing.
I
was going to add that too, if you don't mind.
Oh, go right ahead.
With the premium and what Domino said as an entry point, for new players, it can be a little overwhelming. And once you figure out standard, what Bushiroad has done pretty recently, a lot of the standard decks, you can just slap a G-Zone. And honestly, it's almost like a standard plus kind of deck with basically being in premium at that point. So it's a nice transition. And tying that together because, with G-Era happening, E-Era, at first it was kind of clunky for certain clans. It just didn't have that same identity or the same mechanics sometimes. And it just made the strides or the previous support not mesh well with the new support. But now I think we're at a point where the new stuff is actually utilizing that G-Zone now, so you can actually transition between two formats. And as a YouTuber, it gives you the opportunity to do more different deck profiles, more discussions too, because some decks may have multiple directions. A good one is Night Rose, for example, where there's builds using Navigator, and then there's more builds using like a G-Era support with Night Rose support from the day. And so you can have two videos just by doing that. And you wouldn't be able to do that in V-Era, for example. You would just have whatever you have in V-Era without access to the previous stuff too.
Yeah. So like that's actually like bringing up to like a very interesting question, interesting point. Not gonna lie. So I was actually looking, and some people were posting on Vanguardians and Vanguards how what's the point of uploading deck profiles if every deck profile is going to be 95% the same, right? I know you guys saw this post at all on Facebook and things like that, right? And some people were just overall like explaining their point of view about it. Now, to me, I think that's a more standard situation because when it comes to premium, I think that there is a lot of differentiation in the decks. Now, I could just be a little bit biased because my two clans are Narukami and Gear Chronicle, and like Gear Chronicle in itself is already a toolbox looking deck. So like you can see it very different. But do you guys feel like there's a lot of independent or personal teching that you do over your deck profiles that make you stand out against others?
I would have to heavily disagree with that statement, whoever posted that, about deck profiles are not valuable just because most of them are the same. Because here's something that we all can refer to. We've all went to school. Whenever we learn something new for the first time, how many times did we have to hear it the same way from different professors until somehow it clicked? right? Do
Yep.
we ever learn something the first time? No, we don't. We don't. Sometimes, like I could tell you, like especially taking classes like in IT and stuff, whenever we learn something new, it may not click the first time, but when you hear it from someone else, maybe they say something, maybe they say some keyword that just somehow clicks in your head, it just works. You know, so sometimes the deck profiles, I mean, a lot of times decks can build themselves, but sometimes that one tech choice that one person does and the way he explains it somehow makes the rest of the deck make sense that maybe did not click with you the first time when you read someone else's, when you hear someone else's deck profiles. And that's why certain tubers are really go-to guys for deck profiles, because of the way they explain things, or sometimes you have to hear it explained from someone else. You know, because we can talk about one card, right? Like we can present one card, all of us will have a different explanation for it. And we may talk about the same thing, same topic, but there's a different way. It's like, you know, when you are going to a destination, people may have a different way to do it. Or even if we take the same road, some people go faster or whatever. So people have a different explanation for the same things. So I think deck profiles are still very valuable in that sense. And so I think whoever posted that is wrong. I heavily disagree with that statement. There's still value in deck profiles, but just it's all about how you're presenting it, what you're explaining, and if you're just there's a difference between just listing off a checklist versus explaining in depth on how the cards work and interact.
Yes, yeah, and I fully agree with you. Right, I'm just like listing out these things that I've seen on Twitter / Facebook, and like it's been topics that people have for like majority of the time. Some disappear from. Sorry, I blanked a little bit. Some feel that like deck profiles become redundant when it's kind of similar, right? But I think the way it's explained can probably like be an overall difference to you than just seeing it the way it is. It's not just you can build it and you fully understand what you're doing. Like I've seen people that build a back in G era $400 Gear Chronicle deck, and the way that they monetize and they try playing it's completely it's horrible, not gonna lie. I look at it, I'm just like, what's this guy doing?
No, you just remind me of that. Like,
funny that you say that. Yeah, because I still have a vivid memory of someone building a complete Gear Chronicle deck, you know, fully competitive time lead, and he had no idea how the Melum TikTok combo worked.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh well, you know, it tops, it's so it's got to be good, but he had no idea how it worked. You know, he went and he probably watched the deck profile, but the key aspect, right? I think it is the matter of perspective. Perspective is like, okay, why?
Oh.
Oh,
Did we lose him? Technical difficulties, guys. No worries, no worries.
it's okay. It's okay. That happens to my mind too when we talk about that Tier 0 Gear Chronicles.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. You're back.
yeah, you're back.
A little bit, but you're back. Oh, I
wonder if he was having bandwidth issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
His brain broke from the Melon combos.
So I'm actually gonna take the time to say something to the audience right now. So yeah, guys, I know like in some of these videos they look kind of choppy. Again, we're working with a lot of people from around the world. We have to work with their bandwidth, their internet, and things like that. Overall, we're not looking for you guys to like have like a big look at how our video quality right now is, but to know about the community and very like important or people in the community that is putting their time out there to give you guys information and all that. So even though some of the video quality here may look a little bit choppy at the end of the day, we gotta take the time to know that these people are able to find time out of their day to come out and give their support and their own tips and tricks on all the panels at CardFightCon.
Well, I think it's always fun to see who has the worst internet out of everyone.
Aha!
So far, that's me.
This is why you guys are
John's back.
I know if we were all Twitch streamers,
You kinda-
guys, the video quality would be good, right?
God, it's a Vanguard on Twitch.
I would not last 5 minutes on Switch with my internet.
Same.
Are you back, John? Were you able to kind of?
Yeah.
We still want to.
Where
We
did
still
I
want to
cut-
hear your point.
Where did I cut off?
On perspective.
He actually went to go learn the Melum combo, so you could tell him.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, that was the trick.
I see. You time leaped to the future to get the history
Yeah,
maker
okay.
and never came back.
He time leaped.
Yeah, it's a matter of perspective, right? So you watch one video and you think, okay, this deck's amazing, so this is what I'm gonna play. But if you just watch that one video and you don't understand what's going on, then you don't have a general understanding of how to play that deck. So that's why you watch multiple deck profiles. Sure, they might all look the same, but they all have different perspective as to why they play it. You know, TikTok Mellum goes into this, and then you go into your Urwater to, you know, Time Leap for this particular card. You know, it's a matter of explaining yourself and having that sort of perspective.
Yes, and I fully agree. Like, really, how you explain it is going to be the only way that they're going to be able to learn it. It can't just be, they can't just see a picture, build it, and be like, I'll figure it out on the way. You don't know how many times.
I've done that a few times. Like Castile OTK for the first time in Spring Fest without knowing how anything works. But somehow I made those Doreens 180k.
Well, I'm not going to lie. Like, I've gone to ARGs before with a deck just built with the new support and all that and just gone to tournament, right? But the thing is, like, I took the time probably to play CFA, or anything available to me to practice those decks before going in. So, like, I wasn't left in the dust, pretty much. Example is actually an ARG. I went in with this Gear Chronicle deck, and I ended up getting top 3 because I had the pre-practice of it, but I had no practice with physically IRL playing it, right? And it's, totally be honest, like, do not do what I do. Because even though you're playing it online, you need to play in real life to actually see where your hands are, because they are not the same, not gonna lie. You gotta work with, like, a whole different, like, ratio that you're getting in your hands, and I'm like, this is not what I expected.
No, you mean you actually have to shuffle your own deck?
Yeah. Oh, wait.
One thing that I wanted to add with the era, if you don't mind me adding.
Go right ahead.
So what I love about G-Era days and also in Premium, that's that extra level of deftness that some players, you can pick up a deck and play it, but it takes another level of commitment and actually effort to learning to play well. And decks like Time Leap, Night Rose, and G-Era, you had interactions even on your opponent's turn. You had Hetero Round, you had the Negro Lily play with Cannoneer, for example. So you really had to think long term on setting up your turns. You know, if it's like, I need to pop that Gear Cat so it doesn't give 10k to Chrono Jet with Cannoneer, or I had to be careful doing my turns without being Denial Griffin from Kagero. It just had that level of interaction that I honestly appreciated. It's almost like that Yu-Gi-Oh aspect with hand traps too, or even trap cards. You know, they're doing something during your turn, and you have to actually be engaged and actually plan ahead at that point too. So I love that personally.
I actually want to add on to that, but I know I kind of accidentally cut off Winning Image for a second. Did you wanted to add something beforehand? Is that correct?
I just wanted to say I love all these strides. Like, I love Altmile and Saintblow, but 9 times out of 10, I just picked Regale.
So what I actually want to add it on was, you're correctly, that's something that I thought in Vanguard was very interesting at the time, was when they finally incorporated things that you can do on your opponent's turn, right? And, like, I never thought that it was overly busted. I didn't think it broke the game, right? I thought it was very, like, decent, right? But I think where it failed, not gonna lie, and, like, you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, right? But was that not all the clans got the same treatment. So I'm gonna, like, pull it to, like, some clans, like Royal Paladins. All they did was they had the requirement of, like, having a grade 2 or putting a rear guard back to get another rear guard. And the most they can get is like 5 to 10k. One of them got 15k. I remember that. And one can get you your P guard from the drop, right? But all of it was pretty much just being able to guard the attack, but not, like, stopping the guard completely. There were clans like Narukami and Kagero that got things that can easily just retire. I know Grand Blue got a card that was let you summon a card from your drop zone on your opponent's turn, which got you to get Cannoneer out, right? So, like,
Negro Lily.
Yeah. So where it kind of feel like it minus, or like where it kind of was like a bad concept, would have been because not everyone got, like, in similar treatments. But I overall thought that was a great concept, being able to use on your opponent's turn abilities to block them, make them to make your guarding easier. Even, like, the small things, like the perfect guards that let you draw a card after using the perfect guard. I thought that those are great.
That was nice.
Maintaining advantage.
Yep. But
I think you're muted. It looks like you were trying to.
Yeah, I was pressing the wrong push to talk button. Ooh. So yeah, defense is really is really I always consider defense to be more important than offense, because the way that people can just go off on their turn and not have to worry about like their plays being stopped mid battle, it's just okay. I just have to make sure I have enough guard, and then whatever happens happens. But then after G Guardians were introduced, and then you have even more shenanigans with the gifts, such as Protect Gift 1 and other defensive units that have skills to activate on their opponent's battle step. That is where now the real strategy starts to come in through, because anybody can just drop a board, swing, and then see what happens. But then you have to realize when it's no longer your turn, it's like, oh, I didn't deal the 6 damage. I'm gonna die, and then
I'm in danger.
Yeah, I'm in danger. And so, what do? All right, I have to learn how to defend. And when I was writing articles for Cardfight Vision at the time, shout out to them for actually bringing me on. And I wrote the Art of Defense articles and Fundamentals of Defense, and knowing what it's like that. Okay, I just have to count how, okay, the cards in my hand, the cards in my opponent's hand, what I saw them drive check, and all this data that you have to process as you're defending, because there are so many games that people would lose just because you're 5k shield off. But because you're 5k shield off, you have to take that hit and just hope for a heal trigger. So when going into that type of aspect, I always love the fact that with G Guardians that can act as ways to mess with your opponent's board or mess with your own board to protect it from others, that introduce such a level of thinking into Vanguard that people would think, okay, it's not like you just do whatever and just guard however you can and hope the magic numbers don't really hit. But I love just seeing how like a player would defend. When you would just watch how a player defends against a turn, and you see like the mistakes, like you could just intercept it, you didn't need to drop that 10k shield, that would have saved you off for another turn. And I'm really like passionate about this too, because it's just so cool to seeing how people defend, because when it goes back to their turn, I realize like, oh, I could have kept that card in hand. That could have been my swing for game. And then I have to like readjust my strategy as I keep going forward with it.
I know like we can get into the biggest conversation in defending here, and it's kind of funny because like when I look at it and like when I go to tournaments, right, me and my team members, mostly my team leader, right, we talk all the time because like we're usually the ones that play at these tournaments, the majority, and we come and like we talk about how people play Vanguard very differently from us. And like we talk about how we go into a tournament and this guy just called his whole hand to the field, and I'm here thinking is like, man, this is going to be an easy game. And then I realized like, oh, okay, that wasn't that easy, but still we got through. When guarding from hand, and like the things that become very interesting is just like how you resource yourself, kind of. So I know that when MLB came out, because like I'm gonna be totally honest, guys, Florida over here, we're not a very smart state. All right, we are having tournaments for $250 in the middle of COVID. So literally when MLB came out, we were at a tournament all masked up, like not gonna lie, like literally I was wearing a hat, I was wearing like the face mask, and also like the regular mask too, and then the face covering thing. I was like, I'm not getting COVID, but I'm playing Vanguard. So I went in, and this was during MLB. I went in with Narukami. Guys, let's be honest here. I did not go in with a deck that was going to top. Still got top 8, not going to lie, but that's an off-topic story. And when I was watching people play MLB, they were just guarding attacks, basing their numbers, right? And then like I was watching, and like all these guys are getting knocked out, and I was looking at what my team members were doing, and they go in and whatever they're guarding, they're resourcing back. And it's a thing that I feel like people need to learn and like focus on, because like you have cards that allow you to get these cards back that you're guarding with, and you just need to know when to use them and get rid of them. People that play Link Joker, some of them don't even guard with the Vocal Guide when they could, right? They could perfect guard, drop in, they don't do it. They just keep it in their hand, being like, I'll call it from my hand somehow. I'm just like, what are you doing? You're wasting a resource. You can get that to the drop, ride your new Messiah, and be able to get that thing to the field and lock it. But it's just overall like things that they need to realize and play through to get through it. And like we can go on this topic all day, but I feel like no one wants to hear us have like a meta analysis today, right?
I know, right?
Yeah, don't get me started on that topic. I will go off on that.
Yeah.
That would be another panel altogether.
So I guess now going into our next question is, what is the best thing about being a content creator / influencer? How do you, like, I knew, I believe Jaime was saying something earlier, how like someone will message you being like, oh, I was able to adopt, and like that made you want to do more videos
Yes.
with a better routine. But overall, like, how does it feel like being like mostly an influencer to these people? Like, they come in and like message you being like, hey guys, thank you so much for that video, it was very helpful, I was able to go to Toronto and top with Nairos and things like that. So like overall, like, what's your overall opinion on like how do you feel about people getting back to you? And
I think. Oh, go ahead.
no, go right ahead, I got stuck anyway.
I was just gonna say that one of the biggest things when I started playing and was seeing results, I felt like I had something to share that other people can actually have value to use. Maybe they just want to get better at the clan that they're using, or for the competitive scene, and so that's where the deck profiles came in for me. And when you first do it, it's kind of weird because you've never done a deck profile before, but then now you have it on YouTube, and then somebody Googles it or YouTubes it, right? Finds your video, actually watches it, and just hearing some of those comments where it's like, hey, I really liked your lists, and in the comments or something like that, or Facebook, whatever, social media, it's like, I really like how you did this, I understand the mindset that you have, I'm going to try this out, and I'll give you some feedback. And sometimes you have that engagement, that feedback that helps you too, to either do more content or improve as a player as well. And so it's almost dynamic at that point, and you're honestly helping other people as well with whatever you're trying to throw out there on YouTube.
Yeah. And like that's what I think is very interesting about YouTube, because like you're pretty much archiving everything you're saying, and like everyone can take the time, be like, they saw your most recent video, and then they're looking back and they're being like, oh yeah, that would have been a really good thing to do back then. And then like you pretty much build up like a I guess like an alliance in a sense, because like they can see that you keep seeing uploading these videos about, let's say, Falvis, for example, right? And like they start understanding how your progression is with the new support, and overall you kind of build like your own little follow group, because they're like, yeah, that's how you should have done it, yeah, like why didn't I think about that? But yeah, for everyone else, what's your opinions about being an influencer to your community?
Well, oh no, I'm sorry. Oh, you want to go ahead?
I was gonna say the best part was you.
Oh god. Ugh. Yeah,
Just kidding. But no, the best
nice.
part is just the connections, like, of this whole thing. Playing a card game is pretty intimidating in some social scenes, but just doing this game, doing this panel, putting together Cardfight Con, just communicating with all these different people who I've never spoken to, and have spoken to in the past. And just finding common ground, like Gabe and I talked about football the whole time before this panel started, and just meeting Jaime, meeting Alphonsus, meeting John after how many years of online interaction, is just the best part, and I look forward to a lot of the things that we would talk about going forward. So, yeah, just
That's very cool.
Really, for content creating. Well, I mean, the way it started out for me, I mean, how many times have we watched like a video of something that you're really passionate about, or you built a passion for, or you hear someone talking about it, and then you end up arguing with them on the screen? I'm like, no, I don't think it's like that. I think it's supposed to be like this. No, here, they're wrong. We've all done it. We've all done it in anything, like watch sports videos, political videos, or whatever. But so that's why I was like, you know what? Because I bought so much. I tend to be a whale in a lot of games I get into. I splurge. So I had like 8 decks. And I'm just like, I'm really enjoying it. And I felt like a lot of the people because I want to hear what other people are about, what I'm thinking about these decks I play. And then I'm just like, I'm not trying to bag on anything, but it's just like, I didn't hear a lot of the explanations that I kind of want to hear to the certain depth. And I was like, you know what? And I'm always ranting on with my friends about it. And then one of my buddies was like, just make some videos and just do it. I was like, you know what? I want to do that. So I never really saw it as like myself telling what other people should do. I just want to share what I think, and I've always looked forward to feedback, like what people thought about it. And I like to have a discussion. I like having discussions, about things. So I just want to hear what people did. And it just turned to people end up coming to me for like deck profiles of what I thought. I'll share what I can in the comment section, or I'll just follow it up in another video, or I use that as feedback for another video. So, and then gradually I just kind of felt myself improving a little bit with my speaking, with my ability to explain, and it developed a passion for me to want to get better too as well, because I felt like I've gotten so much better with the game from when I first started that I just want to share. Like sometimes we just want to share things, right? Like if you bring up a topic to a lot of people and they, build some passion for it, they just want to share it. And that's how it was for content creating for me. I just like sharing, getting feedback. It was nice and rewarding too when my channel was being shared on other Facebook groups, and just saying positive feedback. I'll accept criticism as well. That's fine too. But because I don't advertise my channel anywhere. I don't really post my channel anywhere on Facebook groups. So some people do it, to support me, which I appreciate. But I've always sharing my experience and just getting feedback from it and just having discussions about it. And of course, it networked around, so I know a lot of people, made a lot of friends from across the country, even across the world. Like there's subscribers I know who are from other countries, which is pretty cool. So that overall is great.
You go to YouTube Studio, you see people watching from like Singapore, Malaysia, UK, and like that's kind of cool,
Yeah, no, definitely.
That whole pie chart was just like, wow, that's insane. And yeah, it just comes back to being just part of the community. Like we all have something to offer. We all have a perspective to share. And I think what kept a lot of it going was just seeing that, wow, it's like the growth of it all, just the growth of the community. Because trading card games can be pretty hard to maintain or even just establish and keep going. I think that the inside joke was like, usually it's a 5-set curse or a 2-year curse for a lot of new trading card games. But at least with Vanguard, it's lasted for already 8 years now, and it's going to go on even further. And seeing how it always became the game that we would kind of come back to, whether we needed a break or just if we were suffering from burnout, and seeing just videos, the community, just whether it's the vlogs, the market watches, the staple stuff, it's all learning from another perspective. And also it's also people that you vibe with as well, because people that gravitate towards deck profiles, matches, vlogs, all that content. It's part of it is just for what the content represents, but a part of it is also like, do you vibe with this person? Do you vibe with this personality? And if you do, that's great. That's cool. And it also encourages you to say like, oh, if I vibe with this person, I wonder if I can vibe with other content creators as well. And so it kind of builds this nice little card fight networking family that we're just talking about turning cards sideways and just dealing damage. Like it's probably one of the best parts to just grow the community.
Yeah, the community overall is like, it has its faults, not gonna lie, but overall, just like the general community has been very like helpful. Like I gotta say, it's less toxic than Yu-Gi-Oh, but like, hey.
There's always toxicity with any group of people, but I mean, at the end of the day, there's the few minority that helps out.
Yeah.
Vanguard.
Go ahead.
No, like Vanguard definitely has its moments. Like that, it's kind of why I don't really hang out in the main groups, and it's always the same every era. It's like meta, I hate meta, I love meta, casual versus competitive. I should make a video every year about it, ranting on it, because I go off on that stuff.
Oh, there's just too much power creep from Luard. I'm like, give it the next set. You're not gonna see it anymore.
Yeah, like don't even get me started on it, because I literally will rant off. I should just make my own video about this, but like it's like he's seeing posts of like meta slave apparently is like the new term now, and I'm like, I just want to go off.
No it's not going to be relevant, and you see the price drop, like, oh, I can get this ASR Luard, it's pretty cheap now. Oh,
yeah, and second,
I know, right?
Yeah.
So as we've been going through this panel, we've talked about meta, a lot of other things past, like our not Vanguard experience, YouTube experience. We've talked about a little bit how like our opinions about like things in the past with like G. Then we have like our opinions about premium standard. If you could take something from today's panel and bring to others that want to be new and upcoming YouTubers, what would it be?
I think I would advise that you have a voice just like any one of us here in this room, and you don't need to depend on trying to copy exactly what people are doing, but in fact you should kind of take from each of our experiences and perspectives as a template of how you want to remix it into your own way, how you want to present the content that you do. Because there are only so many ways a person can present a deck profile, but what makes it appealing and unique is the person themselves, because we want to know your perspective on what these cards do, what value you see in these cards, and how you would utilize these cards to achieve victory. And for new and starting out, believe me, any field going into it seems like it's oversaturated, but a lot of it takes time. Like any YouTubing career, I remember when Trash Taste brought it up, they were just like, it would be years before you could ever think of seeing a cent come back. And because a lot of it, people would start out because of the passion for it. We do it because we want to, not because we have to. And that is probably the best way going into it, because when you do it because you want to, you end up trying to think of other creative ways to present material or how you want to present your personality to the world. And that is probably the best way you can get a great start as a content creator.
No, I agree. Because as Alfonso said, mentioned, you know, it really starts as you, and you have to have the passion. It's like I said, you know, when I started, if you just find yourself like arguing with your computer screen about what people are saying online, and you're just watching videos, you're like, you know what, it's like, you know what, you guys are wrong, or like you just want to have your own opinion. You just feel like I don't know. There's just that passion you build up inside. Like, you know what, I want to share about this. Like typing a few sentences with 140 characters on a comment section just is not enough for me. I need to record myself. So, you know, just pull up your camera, pull up your cards, and then just do your thing. Because, and this is just my opinion, it really does come down to you, how you share, how you express yourself, how you explain yourself. Because, at least for my channel, for the time I've used it, I've always brought myself. I'm not like the most like, I'm not like a PewDiePie, or Juan Mango, you know, who's like energetic and everything. A lot of times I'm just sitting here, just chilling, and I can be a little boring sometimes. But I always want to be an informative channel, and I just stuck to that. And you know, like I don't do a lot of. I've seen other guys in the past, like in the long past, who had so much video editing and everything, but they don't get a lot of viewership, because when I see some of those videos, they just don't really say a lot of things. And I think the viewers are very smart, and they can see past all that, and they just say, okay, this guy know what he's talking about. And I just say overall, if you feel like you have a lot to say, you're very passionate. I mean, think about it. Vanguard is just a bunch of cardboard cards. It's not like a video game where you can like put an anime girl like as your character, and then that's your draw. Like, well,
technically there's a clan for that, but like
no,
that's besides the point.
No, I hate Bermudas. Even then, people would be flexing their SPs, their $1,000 SP decks, but no.
You beat the mermaids with legs, right? Like those.
Don't get me started on that. but you know, Vanguard is just pieces of cardboard, right? Like, so people are coming to the channel not to look at pieces of cardboard on video. They just want to see what you have to say for things, right? They just want to see what you have to say, what your opinion is, what your build is. That's why people are going to it. Are going to your channel. So just stick with that. Stick to just enjoying the game, and as long as you continue to enjoy the game, it's gonna show. Like, and trust me, like if you look at my videos, there's really not a lot of production quality in it, but I just found, I guess I do have an audience for some years, and they come because they just want to hear my opinion, and I like to have open discussion with everything. So kind of, you know, I say start with that, and then you can maybe kind of transition off to other things, as Alfonso's mentioned. So, you know, just stick to what you think is best to present.
Yeah, that's awesome. I
really like that point. It was very good. I think that being informative is also a very good aspect. You got to the audience, pretty much, you got to know what you're going to be your theme. Are you going to be an informative channel? Are you going to be like a very hyped or energetic kind of channel? Are you going to try pulling in views because of your character over your overall information? It's things like that you need to like decide on paper before like actually doing it, and you may not figure it out until like your maybe third or fourth video of how you want to do your channel. But yeah, does anyone have anything else to mention about the topic?
As well.
Yeah, I like to add to both of them. Is that okay, Winnie?
Yeah.
Does that go? Okay. With what Domino said, not everybody is going to like your content, and you have to be okay with that too. So with that, with just what Alfonso had mentioned, is that you got to create content that you want. I've seen on Reddit and Facebook where people kind of ask the community, it's like, hey, I'm thinking, or my team and I, or my card shop are thinking of making our own YouTube channel. What are some things that you guys want to watch? And I feel you're not going to get I guess what I'm saying is that, if you're going to do a YouTube channel, do it with passion, do it with excitement, because it honestly is going to affect the longevity that you do with the channel. Sometimes we see people that start out really fantastic for the first couple months, 6 months, or a year, and then they just disappear at that point too. And so if you want to see this is something that you want to do, and maybe eventually that you can just do because it can be a form of income or whatever that may be, start with something that you're passionate about, and you'll get that creative sense. You don't have to figure out everything. That's the biggest thing, is that first step is sometimes you start overthinking and you have self-doubt and you talk yourself out of it. So you never record yourself. You're like, I'm going to do this and this, but if you keep thinking about it, you talk yourself out of it. So just do it. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be awkward. The biggest thing for me is when my wife and I were actually living in an apartment and dating, I would get there before she did. And so I had an hour or 2 hour span to actually really take the opportunity to actually record myself. And I actually did it for the first time, and it was really awkward. I felt like I had to talk to a phone because I use my phone for video recording, and then try to talk like I'm trying to present something here where I don't know how to do. And it felt weird. And at first I almost tried to do like a different persona, like act like I know what I'm talking about, but not be genuine or authentic. And it felt awkward. And as I went through that video, I started kind of getting more comfortable, being a little more authentic with myself. And I just worked off of that at that point, because not everybody's going to like my content, and I'm okay with that. But if I could be myself, relatable to a lot of people, and at the same time do what I like to do, then it's going to be awesome. And even though that first step wasn't the hardest one to do and it was ugly, I did it. Right? And then the next video, you just get better. You can start better at video editing. You can start talking about your structure, how you do your videos. There's room for improvement, and just be willing to accept constructive criticism too. It's only going to help your quality of a channel too. And then that's going to bring you to more people as well, to get whatever you want to share at that point. So I'll end with that.
That's a good point. I just say start with what you're good at first, because everyone has like their specialty deck, right? Just start with what you're good at because you're most comfortable. And when you do a deck profile, I mean, sometimes just do it as if like someone's sitting in front of you and they're just asking, "Hey, what does this deck do?" It's like, sure, I'll just show you to you real quick. But start off with something that you are like very comfortable with. That's my first advice. Like, don't just try to make stuff just to make it. Just do what you're comfortable with. Most importantly.
Okay, all right. Winning Image, John, you guys want to add something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say like the best advice someone ever gave me in terms of creating content, and I think this relates to everybody's points that they brought up so far, is no one can replace you. You're not going to be the next Domino. You're not going to be the next Greylock. You're not going to be the next Jaime. You're not going to be the next me. You're not going to be the next Naruto Samurai, or you're not going to be the next any of the other creators that.
I mean, I'm not big yet, all right? Maybe, like, in a little bit from now. I don't have your views, guys. The next Naruto Samurai, okay. But sorry about that.
Is work towards becoming your own creator. So when people go to you, they know what to expect. They know who you are. And I think that's the best advice that I've ever received.
Yeah, it's all about
Absolutely.
you building you. You don't think about building yourself as the next blank. You are... You're becoming the better you, in a sense, or like the more
You're being the first you.
Yeah, exactly.
In the wise words of us East Coast people, do you?
I think that we have like 2 centrals, but yeah.
Just do you. Do you?
Did you want to say something, John, too?
If I honestly, you guys have pretty much summed it up perfectly, but if I could just say one thing, is just always know that your first video, regardless of what it is, it won't be perfect. It never is. But as soon as you put it out, just know that there will be, that sense of relief and that learning that you learn to improve. And not everyone is going to say, "Oh my God, your first video was amazing." I mean, I'm probably going to go back to Team Greylock's earliest videos and it's probably super cringe. So
one of our first videos was in Garden State Plaza, and not even the tripod. It was bad.
Yeah, I didn't have a tripod when I started either.
I actually saw that video. I remembered. I was like, why is the camera so shaky? God.
Oh boy.
And use your phone. Honestly, a lot of the phones now have really good camera quality and mic too.
Like, even to this day, Team Greylock, we don't use any fancy schmancy cameras. It's all on our phones.
I had a
Same here.
DSLR, but you know.
We had that for a little bit, and then like the recording time was only 30 minutes, so any match was like, oh Jesus, we have to like switch out everything.
I switched to a camcorder, you know, stepped up in the world, but things have changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but overall, I think we were able to like get a lot of points across. Hope everyone's enjoying pretty much like what we stated, and our overall opinions toward being a YouTuber and a Vanguard YouTuber at best, right? But overall, before we close off, I think it would be great if we can get a shout out from each one of you guys. So who wants to go first? Actually, you know what? Let's go in top right over. So I'll start with Winning Image. Give your shout out, your location. Not your location, but your YouTube location.
You can find me Winning Image here probably. And shouts to Triple Sleeve TCG for sponsoring and all the amazing people that put together Cardfight Con with me. You know, all of these creators, sponsors, and you guys watching, and heck, even all the people who want to be in this. I read every single thing, and I appreciate all the love y'all have given me, and I'm really honored to have put this together for everybody. I'm really thankful.
You see that, guys? So nice.
Yeah, I'm about to cry.
Next, we got Jaime over here.
On YouTube, I am One Who Gets Crits Commander Jaime, and I also do Grand Blue on top of that as well in the channel. I also do blog writing for Force of the Ocean for Aquaforce. I have my own personal blog as Rogue of the Seven Seas for Grand Blue, and then I do some articles for Axis Vanguard as well. And so you could also find me at Twitter at Jaime Ulises ALV on that Twitter handle too. And so yeah.
All right. We got Domino Paris over here.
All right, so a few things. Want to big shout out to Sean, of course, because he sparked this idea. I remembered he was this like 12-year-old kid with this cat on the screen. I remember this cat was on the video, and I put him on the Spotlight channel. I remember Juan Mango even came to me. He was like, man, who's this kid? I was like, hey, he wanted to be on the channel and everything, and I let anyone on. And who knew that he grew up so much, now to where he is organizing this whole massive community thing. And he even brought me back from the dead. I streamed Zero for a little bit. Maybe I'll probably go back to it. Yeah, exactly. But I just want to give a shout out to all of the longtime subscribers. Sean has definitely been a longtime subscriber from the beginning. He's definitely been the biggest influence in my recent YouTube life, just with kind of bringing me back in, helping me with things. I'm actually curious if he's watching. Nick Cabrera. He was actually one of the first, I guess you could say, fans who came up to me and introduced himself to me back in the day, because I was kind of disappointed when I first went out to my first event. Like, no one knew who I was, but then he immediately saw me. I was like, oh, cool. And then he was like my first like in-person interaction. So Nick Cabrera, I don't know if he's watching, but just in case he is, but I think just big shout outs to, of course, everyone in the East Coast, New York, New Jersey. I always see you guys every Spring Fest. You guys hold it down. Always very competitive. All my Virginia guys, just everyone in the whole card fight community. And I'm just glad to be here. It's a lot of fun, and hopefully we can just continue having these kind of events.
Yeah, bro. Giving that shout out to his hometown. What great guy. What a great guy. Next we got Team Greylock, Alphonsus.
Hey guys, so I am one of the parts of Team Greylock along with John. Give shout outs to not only with the main team members, John, Henry, and myself, but to all of the Team Greylock ONS fan bam. So like Dave, Alex, Axel, Baldwin, Dan, the double Johns. We got Lil John, we got Black John, we got Dwayne, we got Mods. Like, it's a whole big family that we all kind of like have a cool reunion every Saturday whenever we hit up trading card game locals. Shout out to also our communities at Final Turn Gaming, at Time Warp, Legendary Creatures. It's a whole nice community that people can come in, swing cards all day. Shout out to also, of course, Sean for organizing the whole Cardfight Con. Like, dude, this is amazing. Like, hey, I get to go to a convention again, even though it's online. Like, this is awesome. So thank you, man. Like, everybody in the call, like Domino, like I think Lil Jon introduced me to you at that one. I think it was at a Springfest or Cardfight Regional, and then we just kept in touch. Yeah, one of them, and it was just awesome, just keeping in touch over the time. Commander Jaime, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for providing the content you do and really repping Aquaforce well. Now, Samurai, don't worry, everything's gonna work out. It all takes time. Progress takes time. You can feel free to reach me out at the Alphonsus on Twitter, Alphonsus on Instagram, and the Team Gradelock YouTube channel. And they also have Twitter as well.
And I know his internet has been going nuts today, but overall he's been giving great content today to all you guys. Team Gradelock John, please give us your shout outs. How's it going?
Well, hopefully it won't cut out. We'll see. But just like Alfonso said, if you want to follow us, obviously Team Gradelock, we have our Twitter, we have our YouTube. Do we have an Instagram? We don't. I keep thinking we have an Instagram. I keep thinking like Instagram, Snapchat. It's like we got to get on all the social media platforms.
Yeah, I got to work on that.
But if I could give a shout out to everyone, honestly, same as Alphonsus, the entire family, because at the end of the day, yeah, it's us three that put out the content, but there's a whole group when it comes to the content that we make, and we wouldn't be here without their support, and of course with everyone else's support. So, thank you from the bottom of my heart, absolutely. And then Sean, of course, for putting everything together. Of course, I've got to give out the shout out to you. And, I still remember those Game On Saturday streams, and you would hop onto the stream. So I don't forget those. And I miss them. I miss them a lot. So for everyone else, thank you very much. And yeah.
Yeah, guys, I think overall it's been a very good stream. I'm glad that we were able to all talk to you here. Before I actually sign off today, I want to tell everyone that my name is Naru Samurai. You can catch me on Twitch /Naru Samurai. I will also be having a YouTube channel with content hopefully soon. By the time you guys see this video, I've already probably gone maybe 2 videos in. We'll see. But overall, I just want to give you guys some insight. I hope you enjoyed day 1 of Vanguards of Influence. Please stick around throughout the rest of the con, because tomorrow we have day 2. Where we have content creators that you guys know and love. We got Different Fight, Vanguard Insider, both members of Top Deck Hero, Living Proof, and last but certainly not least, True Champion Steven. But overall, glad you guys can come here today with some of our well-known YouTubers, and see you guys all in the next one. See you guys.
Peace.
Later.
Yeah, adios.